Hey, welcome to the weekly wrap up. And I'm going to start off. I've got some really cool news because we've got a big meeting this week for Coin Runners with a major production company. So if they come on board, that is a game changer, and it looks really close. So they are going to help us with our male actor. We've already got Abby Cornish attached, and she's amazing. So I'm super excited. So go and check out coinrunnersmovie.com, and you can get NFTs there, because once we confirm all of this stuff, which is really going to happen really soon, this is going to absolutely take off. So yeah, it's going to be huge. So bigger than the next run for crypto. Just saying. Anyway, we can say that. So I hope you guys have survived this week. It's been super boring. So not a lot happening. We look like we're coming into FOMC and we're going to get some kind of movement. We've got delays everywhere with USA not being in office. So we're not getting all the figures out just yet. So we're still waiting on some unemployment figures, which should come out on the 24th. And then we've got FOMC at the end of the month. So hopefully until then, we get a pump. Now, if we get 25 basis points cut, likely again, that's going to be priced in. So if we get a 50 basis point, that's when we're going to get a pump. So yeah, I think we're going to be going into the FOMC green, and depending on what happens, we'll continue green, or if not, we'll pull back. So let's jump in and have a look what is happening. So with BTC, if I can bring up a chart, there we go. So yeah, at the moment, BTC's just broke the first pivot today, which was 109.781. So this is kind of like, dude, where's my car moment. So it's like then, and then, and then, and then, and then, and then, and then. So that's what we want it to happen. So as we go into FOMC, 50 basis points, we're like here, we're like then, and then, and then, and then, and then, and then, and it keeps going. So that's 50 basis points. If not, we might get sort of between 119 and 124, not break that previous high, and then come down. So that's kind of what we are seeing at the moment for BTC. We are looking at a tad more bullish at the moment. So daily, we've got MACD starting to turn up. Stock indicator is turned up. We've still got bearish divergence on the RSI, but it's slowly changing. So if we drop through the time zone, so we go down to a 4-hour time zone, we're sitting just below the MA. So we're likely to test those. So we're going to break that 113.648 pivot. That looks most likely. We've got a bullish cross on the 9 and 21 EMAs on the 4-hourly. So that's a really strong sign. We likely do get a pullback at some point when these cross. So it might get to the MAs first and then come back down. We're quite high on the stock indicator on the 4-hourly. So just be careful there. But we will probably get a pump up to that pivot and then a pullback. So there's kind of room to move. We've got bullish divergence on the lower RSIs, which means we're slowly changing. So we are on the 12-hour, we are bullish. On the daily, we're still bearish. Give it a day or two, we'll be bullish across the board, and we'll be getting some momentum happening. So on the 12-hour as well, something to note, we've just turned green here on the MACD. We've got really strong volume coming in. Obviously, we've had a whole heap of tether prints over the last few days. So that is making the market really buoyant. And as you can see, the MAs are protecting that pivot. So they are just above. So once we get past, we're getting held at the moment on the 12-hour with the 21 EMA. Once we pass that, next stop is the 100 and 200 pivot. MA, SMA. And that once we pass those, it normally takes a little bit of time. So it'll like consolidate at that point, and then we should bounce through to that 119 pivot. And in between, we should sit while we wait for the FOMC. In between 119, 124 is where I think we're going at the moment. So just keep rising those stops into profit if you are trading this. When we look to this chart here, we can see that we have a little bit of way to go. So next pivot on this chart, 120,774. That's our major pivot where we're sort of going, okay, this is like where we're getting directional change and this is possible. So that's the one that we want to hit essentially. Now on the BLX, when it loads, we can still see that we've got 3 directions. So essentially we've come back down. We're either in this yellow one coming up, retesting, sitting under there for a little bit, and then we blast off. From here we can go straight through, or we can have a small bounce up and then we're coming back down and we're retesting around the 92 mark. We want to hold that 88 because there's a major pivot there. And if we hold all of those, then we are heading up. So I do still think the last few months are going to be bullish. There's still that potential that BTC has topped and ETH and alts will continue. We don't know as yet. If you're wanting to know what that's all about, watch the previous week's stream because I fully explained it there. Just 4-year cycle, 1,064 days. Last 2 cycles were exactly that. So that took us to October 6th, which was also a supermoon, and that normally brings the market down. So we did see a pullback at that point. We haven't broken lower pivots. So we're still in the bull run at the moment. We're still in and functioning and could potentially have like more to go. Now, if we go to traditionals, they're all saying, okay, Bitcoin doesn't have a 4-year cycle anymore. We don't know. We can't say essentially whether it's complete or whether we're still in that 4-year cycle and we're still sort of running through that. Now, the 4-year cycle works obviously because mining rewards are halved every 4 years. Now, with big players like Mara and all of those coming in backed by BlackRock and, Wall Street, does that change things? Maybe it does. We will see within this cycle whether this is the top, whether we've got a couple of more months in it. Nothing goes up forever. It just doesn't happen. So essentially, there's a bear market coming at some point soon. While this hasn't been the extreme bull markets that we've seen in the past, we have had a lot of regulations come through the market. So we've done really well for that. So, big players like Arthur Hayes is saying that this is, there's no 4-year cycle. I disagree. I still think there is. Traditional markets work on an 8-year cycle. Bitcoin works beautifully into that with 2 4-year cycles. So I don't think that is essentially happening. We're getting very toppy on a lot of the traditionals as well. So whether they've got, a month or 2 months or maybe even 3 months to go, we will see what happens. But, what goes up must come down. It's just how it works. So with USDT, now I was talking about this line last week, 5.32. Now we are so far holding that. We want to continue down. So as long as we see that continue, ideally we want to break 3.99 and that means we're really moving into the bullish market again. So that's what we want to see. We have got bearish divergence on this chart. So that is, fingers crossed, we are continuing up. So these are inverse for BTC and the market. DXY is going down at the moment. So at the moment it is on a support, but we do want it to continue down. Now the pivot for this at the moment is 98.2. So if it breaks above that, it's probably going to the next pivot, which is 100. So this will work inversely with crypto as well. So if we go down, crypto will go up. If this does have a bounce here, crypto will have a slight pullback. Not a major one. It's not a major bounce at the moment. Total crypto market cap looking quite good. Now this one has a pivot at 3.81 trillion. And then the next major pivot is 4.02. So just let me adjust those. And once we start breaking those, then the market will bounce. If they reject at these points, that's when we do pull back. So just be aware of that. Keep the stop losses moving. We haven't confirmed bullish or bearish yet. Regardless of what anyone says, it's not confirmed. So we've got a top. We could potentially have a pattern complete. And Elliott Wave shows, as I was explaining last week, several different patterns. At the moment, as long as that 98K mark holds, then we are looking really bullish. So this is just a corrective pattern. Next wave would be a 3 of 3, which is the most explosive and the most fastest and goes up the most. So that's what we want to see. Now Ethereum is rather boring at the moment. It looks like it's in a fourth wave correction or a second wave correction. It's just super boring. So if this is a wave one of the bull market, like the third wave, so one, we've got a 2, and then for Ethereum as well, we're going up to that 3. Now, potentially that's where we get our sort of up to 10,000. I've got 11,000 here, but 7,600 looks like a strong potential here. So as long as these regions hold and as long as that 3392 holds, then we are good to go as far as I'm concerned. So ETH BTC pair is back up above, and it's above the 100 MA. So this is a daily chart looking strong. The MACD is looking really good. Still has bearish divergence, which means BTC is going to move first. That's all that means. Because this is inversely paired with BTC. So BTC is going to have a move first and then ETH will move. So I think we're going to get some green this week. I think we've got, a little bit of time before we get those employment FOMC stuff coming out. We've seen the beige book, which hasn't looked overly bearish and horrible. And it all looks like it's pointing to potentially, if we are seeing likely a 50 basis point, then we're going to get more momentum happening. So that is going to be epic. Now, let us have a look at what is happening next. And I'm just going to put an ad up, and then we will get into some alts if I can find my ad. So this is beginning. And welcome back. Now, if you are watching this on X, this will be a replay because it looks like X has blocked it for some reason. So I'll put this up afterwards and you won't even know. It'll just be like I'm live. So let's jump into some alts. First, these are requests through Getting Started in Crypto. and also through X and Instagram earlier today. So we've got a whole heap of them to get through, and I'm going to quickly whiz through them so that you guys are not sitting here all bored and like going, oh, what the hell is she talking about? So when I talk pivots, I'm talking about Elliott wave breakpoints where they're either bullish or bearish. They are marked on my charts with blue dashes. Occasionally I'll have yellow targets on there, and they are like pivots, like they are, fib targets that I've sort of projected. So I work with Lisa Narchi, and if you want to know what Lisa Narchi is, you can grab my 1,000 to Millions book. Hang on, let me just show you what that is. Hang on, let me do a big, let me go, there we go. So 1,000 to Millions, become a millionaire in a year. So you can head to 1000tomillions.com and have a read about what that theory is. And at the back of it, it tells you all about what Lisa Narchi is. So it is a fib projection way of trading. So let's get into track. So this is looking quite bullish at the moment. So it looks to be in a fourth wave. Now, any pullback here must hold 58. So if it goes below 58, this is a bearish chart. At the moment, it's looking quite bullish. It's got bullish divergence here. It's starting to pull back, but it's in a fourth wave correction. So this correction, any pullback needs to hold the 21 EMA and that 58, and then it should head higher. 121.25 is projection on this at the moment. Litecoin. Now, this is an ugly chart. Ugly. So it's just so jittery and jumpy and hasn't done great things this year. Now, technically, this looks to be complete. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. Could be that wave 1 complete. We've come back down. This also could be a truncated fifth wave at this point on a lot of charts, and we're just about to go into a bullish pattern. So the next stop for Litecoin is going to be that 105 resistance. So that's going to hit and like probably reject at that point. If it can break through with a little bit of volume, the next resistance is 115, and then it's got that 136. Once it clears that, it's game on for Litecoin. So it's got a couple of pivots, and then it should start moving. Now, okay, I'm going to slap some people around that request charts like this. Like, what the hell am I meant to do with a chart like that? Like, it's broken the low. It's literally has been listed here back in May 24. So it's got a year of data, but this would have been listing, team selling. It's like building up the hype again. Second unlock of team tokens got released, and all of a sudden everyone's like, holy shit, this is going to zero. So it can maybe, but there's, you know, it needs a lot more volume. It needs a lot more people behind it, and it just doesn't have it at the moment. So it's not something I would trade. FET has returned to a long-term support, really low on the daily on the RSI. This is looking like it's changing momentum. So this is one that I would be getting into and have been just sort of scaling into that. So again, this could be a truncated fifth wave. A lot of charts are showing that. So for FET, it's got a 36 pivot. If it breaks that 36 pivot, it's heading up to those MAs. Sorry, I've been talking too much. So it looks like it will get a bounce here at this point. Okay, XRP has got a channel breakdown with that wick where we had the market white, like just wipe out of that billions of dollars. So we above the and back in the channels on a lot of these charts. So for this, next step is breaking that channel median line, which is 2.6. It is also the 200 MA on the daily. So as long as it can get above that, the next point of contact is the top of the channel, which is also the 100 MA on the daily. So that's at 2.9. They're going to be a hard resistance to get through. If it can break through, this is super bullish. And we're going to be seeing a lot of bullish momentum across the board if we break those pivots. We are getting a change on a lot of the indicators, but at the end of this month, we do need to see that 0.5 and not the 0.25 cut, because that's going to be the difference. And if we see 0.25, it's priced in. So these are going to pull back. Now, Ondo, we've had a breakdown of that long-term support at 66, but we're back up above. We've retested, and now the next major pivot on this is 98. So that is where we are bullish for Ondo. NIA broke down and is just underneath the pivot at the moment. So that pivot is 2.33. Breaking through that, next bullish pivot is 2.94. And that's when we're going to start seeing that strong momentum on these charts. So, and that's when we know whether we've got that truncated fifth wave, because this wick, a lot of the time in a leverage market, we're going to get wicks. So, and we've got them across the board. So whether we're retesting the lows on those or we've got that truncated wave, we'll know when we get that FOMC cut at the end of the month. We start seeing lots of tether prints, we're going to start moving on a lot of charts as well. Now, C98 is another one that is just horrible. So you can see, like, long term, we've come right back down. And when you zoom sort of like in like this, it's just like massively flatlined. And we've got a lot to go before we can get back up above. So we're sitting right underneath the 100 and the 200 MA. So they are sitting just above at about 0.488. Now, if it can pass through those, next stop is 0.740. And then we're kind of starting to get a little bit of a bullish feel. So, and then we've got to get up to like 13, basically 14 cents. So if we can do that from here, you know, that's not a bad move. And alts do that. So it's 259%. So a lot of these alts that are looking like this, this is one of the better ones. This one, not so much. But C98 is looking, it has got a lot of backing behind it. So potentially it could, it's got nice volume coming into the market. So that might be worth a look. STBL, now again, not much data, not a lot. So this is a 4-hour chart. So it's only September 25 chart. So it's only been around for a month. So this is one of these charts that comes into the market, and then all of the seed investors, they sell it off, and this is where it ends up. So at the moment, it's just cross bullish on the 4-hour chart on the EMA, so on the 9 and 21. So if you want to know how that works, head to YouTube. There's a scalping video there that I've done to explain how that works. And the next stop is 100 MA. So that's sitting at 17. So if it gets there and it can like sit there and consolidate and then pass, the next major pivot is 24. Needs more volume to come in. It's a really early coin, depending on how much backing there is. It doesn't have a lot of exchange listings. If it gets a listing on another major exchange, then we'll see some sort of bounce. But other than that, yeah, high risk. ADA, again, so this has been a signal in it getting started in crypto. It has broken down. Now, this wasn't the ugliest of ugly waves, but this one here, but potentially, you know, there's some big wipeouts across the board for a lot of people, especially if you were a long-term holder and you had a lower stop loss. And I did hear a lot of people got kicked out of that. So we like equal low at this point. We do need to hold this support. So far we've done that. We've had one breakthrough. We're back above. We're now fighting with the EMAs, but potentially we are headed up to about 81. So that's potentially where we're getting when FOMC happens. We might see, a bit of a bounce, 20 to 50% on alts over the next couple of weeks, and then that pull back again. I don't want to get super bullish because BTC's only just passed the first pivot. So, once we start breaking those ones, and I'm like, and then we'll be like looking at the alts and going, okay, we're probably breaking these higher pivots. NST is another one of those ones that has limited data. So this is almost a year old. It's obviously come into the market, team sold, everyone who owned this went, holy shit, I've got to sell. Now, this isn't looking like terribly bullish. This is actually quite a bearish pattern. There is one more pattern that it could be, which is a leading diagonal. When we put it up to a daily, it does kind of look like that. So we're sort of trading in that range. So if we've got like a trombone pattern happening, which is kind of what happens with the leading diagonal. Ignore the wicks. That's the only time we ignore the wicks, when we've had a big market-wide pullback like that. So that's just leverage traders getting liquidated. And unfortunately, that's what it looks like. On the daily, we are slowly getting this like turning. So potentially it's got a bounce coming at the moment. So 3285 is the first pivot. If it can get past that, gets past the 200 and the 100 MA, potentially this has got hope. At the moment, looks like it doesn't have a huge amount of volume coming in. So it's a high risk bet. This is essentially gambling. Any chart that looks like this is pure gambling because we don't have the data. And, I get lots of requests for these in it getting started in crypto. And I'm just like, well, I can give you some pivots, but that's about all I can do. So other than that, you're just gambling. So the next one's RSR. So this one's got a lot more data. So this was a bear flag, broke down. We're now above. So again, same pattern. So if we've got a truncated fifth wave, we're done. If we don't get that 50 basis points, we're probably coming back down and retesting. At the moment, we're looking like we're getting a momentum change on the MACD. So that, I believe, will happen until the end of the month when we get that FOMC data. So just be super cautious in this region while you are trading. There's going to be some really nice moves, I think, over the next probably week to 2 weeks. And then we'll be all eyes on the FOMC. And hopefully we're going into November when we are looking a bit more greener. So fingers crossed. We're kind of on the edge of where we know whether we're bullish or bearish, whether the market's topped and that 4-year cycle has ended. We don't know yet. We're still in this pattern, and that is my snoring dog for anyone who's got headphones on. I always hear you guys saying you can hear my dog snoring. So I hear her snoring all day long. So you guys can get it for an hour or half an hour. But that's pretty much what's been happening. And for all you guys that I'm not 72, by the way. I'm nowhere near 72. It was just a funny tweet that I saw Wendy O put up, so I just thought I'd copy it. But yeah, so I will catch you in at Getting Started in Crypto. Now, if you want to join us, check us out. We've got heaps of different packages. And of course, you'll catch me on X, on Threads, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Blue Sky, and TikTok. So, and if you like psychology, manifesting, and neuroscience, please join me on Instagram and TikTok. So I will catch you all next week. And of course, you'll see me on all the socials. So thanks for watching, guys. Bye.